Hey everybody, we are here at the property I sprayed last month. This is what I do for a living, and this is one of my larger properties, and it's one of my more impressive properties that I spray. And last month I got a fairly good reception from the video I shot, and so I thought today we could do a follow-up. We'll see how the property's looking after a month. We should have some more flowers blooming and a lot more stuff filled in, so we're going to do another working walk around this very stately property here in North Baltimore. So let me get you strapped onto my head cam, and then we will go around and get all her plants sprayed. All right, we're going to start over here with this big oak leaf hydrangea, and so far it looks pretty good. I don't see any damage on that. I've been having pretty good luck with most of my properties so far this spring. So hopefully our luck will continue here. Peonies don't really need to be sprayed. Fern doesn't need to be sprayed. These hosta definitely need to be sprayed. These hosta are already starting to flower. Wow, look at that. Oh, you see this right here? That's deer damage. So they must have tasted it, had one taste, and said that was no good and left. So that's what I want to see. I don't like seeing any damage, but if we are going to see a little bit of damage, I like to see where they took one bite and then walked away. Get all this sprayed. Hello. Looking good so far, but I got plenty to go. All right, this is more oak leaf hydrangea. All right, everybody, we get back to work. I had to stop and have a few minutes chat with my customer. So they are going to be leaving before I'm finished. And so we just wanted to have a little conversation about what's going on and what I'm seeing. And so far what I'm seeing is very good. These peonies are amazing. And there's some more peonies down at the bottom of the hill that are in bloom right now that I'm really looking forward to seeing. Last month, that's what I was actually just talking to her about. Last month there was one that was still in the bud. It hadn't bloomed yet, but it was so vibrant that I was afraid I was going to miss it coming back a month later. So I hope it's still down there. So I never used to have to spray all the way around here, around the patio and everything, but since they're dog passed, the deer are a little more bold and they come up a little closer to the house. And so I got to get all this sprayed. This is all hydrangeas. This too is a hydrangea, climbing hydrangea. All right, that's where we'll stop. We'll hit this when we come back up. So we've got some hosta under here we need to get sprayed, and then we will head down to the bottom of the yard. So this is the only damage I've seen so far, is some of these hostas have been pretty beat up, and then a lot of these hostas have just one little nibble taken out of them, like we saw on that other one, which again, I don't want to see any damage on anything, but you see right here, there's some damage on this one. That's deer damage. This little chew right here on the edge is deer damage, and then they stopped. So that's exactly what I want to see. That shows me that the repellent is working. And of course, now that they know what it tastes like, they'll start to associate that smell with that taste, and pretty soon they won't be biting it at all. They'll just walk up, they'll smell it, and they'll walk away because they'll know what that taste is already. Alright, none of that is hosta. Got a couple hosta down there. Let's avoid the bird feeder. Alright, and these all don't need to be sprayed. So now she told me that the deer down here bedding down in the daylily. Not even sure what that is, but it looks like the deer were nibbling on it, so we'll spray it. So this is one of my problems with the deer down here, is they bed down on this daylily. They're not necessarily eating it, but they sleep on it, and it just crushes it and tears it all up. So my repellent doesn't work. You know, it's not like garlic to a vampire. They don't run away from it or anything. They just don't eat it, but they have no problem just lying down on top of it, and that's why we end up with these beds that look like this, all smashed and crushed. There's probably going to be some damage down there too when we get down there. There usually is. All right. Yep, you see all these flat squashed down marks? That's all from deer bedding down. Alright, I'm not gonna go through there. We'll go through around this way. I gotta get back there though. Alright, let's go through here. It's hard to bend over when you have a pack full of juice on your back. So you can see down here where they've laid down on all that and smashed it down. I honestly don't even think these get enough sun to bloom, but I'll spray them anyway. Alright, let's make our way back out of here. Maybe I should have gone this way to get out. Yeah, it's a little bit longer of a walk, but it's definitely a lot easier. Alright, let's go pick up where we left off now. Well, you can see a little bit of damage right here, but it's not much. And this stalk right there is the flower spike. Oh, I see a lot of flower spikes in here, and so that's good. The way this repellent works is by taste and a little bit by scent. As I said, once they've tasted it a few times, they'll begin to associate that smell with the flavor, and they'll tend to leave stuff alone a little more. But any part of the plant that hasn't been sprayed is susceptible to being eaten. And so if those flower spikes weren't up today, then they wouldn't have gotten sprayed, and by next month when I come back, they may very well be eaten. So I'm glad they've started coming out and we were able to get them sprayed. Oh, that's a good looking one there. That one back there is the one I saw last month. This one here is just, man, look at that. That is incredible. That's probably going to do weird things to the camera. It's so bright and it's doing weird things to my eyes. It's like fuchsia and they're so big. It's a shame they're not tied up. The weight of the flowers is squashing them down. That's all Joe Pye weed, so we don't need to spray any of that. These are brand new rhododendrons she had installed last year. And the deer hit this one pretty bad. That's why it doesn't have any flowers on it. But we got the other ones through pretty good. So they got those dainty little white flowers on them. These are really pretty little rhododendrons. They must be some sort of dwarf species. Alright, this is all stuff. Well, this is a burning bush. I don't even know if this is supposed to be there or a bird just deposited a seed and now it's growing there, but I'll spray that. The azaleas are a winter plant, and then these are another flower that's absolutely incredible. Look at the size of that flower. Wow, that's some powerful fragrance too. So let's see if we can see one that's a little more open. You can see some up there that are open. This one here is open. I have no idea what this is. Again, this is another one up here. How big those things are. Huge. You can see straight down in it too. Hope I'm angling that camera right. It's hard to tell exactly where my head cam is pointing. It's a shame only the ones that are way high up are the ones that are fully open. There's another one that's really fully opened up there. Oh, that one right there is completely open. Wish I had my stick cam. I'd hold it hold it up. That is so awesome. I love this tree. I don't know what it is either. I have no idea what kind of tree this is, but I always look forward to seeing this bloom in the spring. I miss it some years. I'm glad I got to see it at all this year. It'll definitely be done by the time I get back next month. All right, moving on. These are a couple coral bells that turned up recently. Well, that one's got some damage on it. So does this one. We'll spray them nice and thorough. The plants do absorb a little of this. Siberian iris there, they're looking good. So the plants will absorb a little of this and sort of take on that flavor internally a little bit. We don't have to do this, but I always enjoy walking back here. So we'll come back through the rhododendron grove, and you can see it's blooming. So you can stand back here and enjoy the flowering rhododendron all through there. Butterfly flying around. It's hard to believe this is how I make a living, isn't it? Like I always say, it's a pretty good gig if you can get it. I wonder if we've got any more good flowering views down this way. Got some good flowers up here. Got some good flowers up here. Wow, today's turning out better than I thought it was going to. And we'll come out right here. We don't need to walk all the way through. I need to get started spraying again. This is still my first customer. I do need to hustle a little bit today. I can take a few minutes from time to time to stop and smell the proverbial roses, but I do have to keep moving here, so let's get back to it. These are hydrangeas. And of course the roses. The deer love the roses. See all this red growth on the tips here, all this new growth? That's a good example of what I'm talking about. This is getting sprayed, but in a week, you know, roses are very fast growers. So a week from now, there'll be more, you know, 6-inch red stalks coming out that are brand new, tender growth, and those stalks will not have any spray on them. And so I have to kind of rely on the overall smell, you know, to keep the deer away. But they will certainly nip off those new bits that don't have any spray on them. That's not uncommon at all. That's why getting here right when the plant is about to send up its flower spikes is important. If I miss it, then it's entirely likely that they could just eat those flower spikes off before I get back next month. Some more hydrangea, some hostas. These hostas are getting their flower spikes on them too, so that's good. Get them sprayed today. I thought this hit me in the back of the neck. I thought I had a bug going down my neck. All right, let's see what we got over here. Most of this is winter stuff. We got a lot of azaleas back here. But this is my problem corner. The deer move up and down through this sort of wooded corridor, and they go right over the fence right here. And as such, they tend to nibble here, nibble there, a little nibble here, a little nibble there, and by the end of the month, it adds up. So I do come back here and spray as thoroughly as I can. There's not a whole lot we can do about this corner getting damage on it. Now this is early spring, so all this is nice new. It's filling back in, and it's kind of recovering from getting beat down over the winter. So we'll spend all summer spraying it. It'll get nice and lush and green, and then the deer will spend all winter slowly just beating it back down, and then we'll start it over. Fortunately, the type of plant it is, it's a euonymus. It's a very fast grower, very resilient, and so it always comes back every spring without incident. But this is still definitely my problem corner. I always like to take a few minutes to stop and admire this huge tree right here. This is a yew, and I never think about yews in terms of being that kind of size. That is just gigantic to me. We have some yew bushes around outside our house. That my foot up there gives it a little bit of scale. So we have some yew bushes around our house, but they're little bushes by comparison. That is an old yew. Love it. All right, this is the other side of that euonymus, and you can see how all down here is what gets damaged over the winter, how all that's nice fresh new growth. Because this technically is an evergreen, and all that stuff was already there. All this pale green stuff is all the fresh new stuff that's recovering from being chomped on over the winter. So we have a lot of astilbe through here, and all of it looks pretty good. I'm seeing flower spikes on everything. That's good news. careful where I'm walking back here. That's all done. Get some hydrangea. I don't know what this tree is, but they keep it wrapped up year round, so I figure it must be important, and it must also get a lot of damage or something, so I always spray it. It always seems to look okay, so I don't know if the screen is working or if it's my spray or what, but it still looks good, so I'm happy. So these all hydrangeas will be in bloom next month. That'll be something to look forward to. All right, we got all that. This is all liriope ground cover. I don't spray all that ground cover because it would just be way too much repellent. All this whole area, this deer will eat this, but since it almost looks like grass, it doesn't really matter if they eat too much of it. This here is the same stuff, it just has a variegation to it, and it's really filled in nice. None of this was here when I started spraying the property, and I had to explain, like, I can't add that to the list, otherwise it'll get really expensive really quickly. And they said, okay, don't worry about it. So there's nothing really back here we need to spray, just kind of having a look around, checking on everything. Again, in the winter time, I have all these azaleas and rhododendrons to spray. There's really a lot to spray here in the winter. It takes me 2.5 to 3 full sprayer packs, whereas today I don't think we're going to get out of here with 1 sprayer pack, but I should be able to use less than a second one. I'll only be a little way into my second one by the time we finish up. So again, all this is ground cover, liriope. There are some small azaleas up here that I do spray even in the summer. They're very new, and for some reason the deer really were beating on them last year, even in the summertime, and they are struggling to hang on. So normally this would be a winter only kind of plant, but as you can see, they're pretty brutalized. And so for as small as they are, and it's only a small handful of them right here, it's not like it takes a whole lot of extra repellent or time. So I always just try to do my best to make sure these are all covered. Some of them, like this one, don't look too bad, but they have all definitely been damaged. Well, my sprayer's starting to run out, so it's time to go refill. Conveniently, we're right here by the truck. So I am actually going to wrap up the video here after I finish refilling my sprayer. I just have a few little odds and ends that I need to get done around here, and then there's a few things I need to get back here and spray. Namely, I need to go back in there. There's sort of this little grove I'll show you. If you look back in there where it's a little more dense, that's a plant called Akuba. It's all of this. And so I'll walk in from the other side, and there's some area back in there. We'll get that all sprayed. And again, you can see how from here down, it definitely takes a beat. And last winter was a rough winter. We got a lot of damage over the whole season. So that's where we'll finish up. But I got to top my sprayer back off before we get to that. So I'm going to say thanks for watching. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that. And make sure you're subscribed if you're not already. I will probably do this on a month-to-month basis as the seasons progress. We'll have to wait and see if it's worth doing. Once the yard's done flowering or whatever, it may simply not be worth it anymore. So thank you for watching this again. I hope you enjoyed that, and I'll see you real soon in the next one.